Hello, welcome to this week's edition of WCS Sports Connection. I'm your co-host, Jeremy Qualls, and with us as always, a resident athletic expert, not football anymore, but just overall athletic, Tate. It's hard to believe Thanksgiving has come and gone. Football now is officially over after this week. Basketball season's upon us. Where does time go, man?
Flies by. Did you have a good break?
I did. I had a great break. What about you?
I did.
Well, I want to say this. Our football teams had a really, really good season this year. It's not the ending, obviously, that we always would like. We want to be, when the smoke clears, the last one standing holding that trophy up. This year we were denied one game from that. The Ravenwood Raptors traveled to Memphis Whitehaven to play a very tough football game in the 6A state semifinals. We know this every year, year in, year out. It's pretty interesting. You look at the breakdown of the 6A bracket, Tate. You go back the last 5 years. Whitehaven, Ravenwood, Murfreesboro, Oakland, and Maryville, last 4 teams.
Yep. It's like a broken record, isn't it? And it's kind of funny how it's been on the other side. Obviously, Maryville's been heavily tilted on that side. Not this year, but then the Whitehaven and the Ravenwood, or last year I guess it was Cane Ridge that comes out of there. It's kind of been pretty even. So, going into the beginning of the year, Whitehaven's who you're going to have to go through, right? And it's a tough place to play, but, man, they were close, really close.
Well, I'm one of those guys that go back. I'm a traditional kind of guy. When things happen in the past, I kind of feel like it's going to happen again. You go back to that magical year of 2015. Ravenwood had to travel to Whitehaven. Maryville had to come to Oakland. Creed 1 was coming out. My boy Marty Smith was with me all the way for the whole trip. He makes this trip with me again. Creed 2's out now. Same 4 teams there. Completely flips the script.
Have you seen Creed 2?
No, I have not.
I haven't either. I want to.
Well, I was planning on seeing it at the state championship game just to make sure, to keep on with the tradition of getting Ravenwood into that game. But
yes.
Maryville comes to Oakland, absolutely gets destroyed 35-0. First time in 18 years.
It was
first time in 18 years Maryville goes scoreless.
It was 38-0.
38-0. Pardon me. Running clock.
It was first time in. Now here's what I don't understand. I saw something. I saw that on the 18 years too, but then I saw it was the first time they had been shut out since 1995 playoffs. Right. So I don't know. There's some crazy math somewhere. Bottom line, long time. And the other thing is, I don't know when the running clock came into – I need to research this. I don't know when the running clock came into existence in the TSAA, but they got running clocked. I mean, now think about that. And so I don't know if that's ever happened. And I went I don't know if Maryville would have scored if they had played 10 quarters. 12 quarters. I mean, it was a beatdown.
It's one of those things, too, and Oakland runs that type of offense that if they get going, they're going to have those sustained drives. And it could be a quick drive or it could be a long one, however they decide to play that thing out with the wing tee. But, that game, you look into that game, going into it, so easy to sell. I mean, really. I'm not taking anything at all away from Oakland the way they played, but – they had a chip on their shoulders. They could never get over that Maryville stigma. They had this one. They knew they were close the first time they played when they lost by 3, 27-24 earlier in the season. There was never any doubt from the first week of the playoffs that they wanted Maryville to get in the championship game. And I firmly believe they thought if they beat Maryville, they'll probably win the 6A championship. There's probably a good chance of that as well. However, the team that I saw play this past Friday will have something to say about that. The Whitehaven Tigers. They have some guys that are SEC caliber 3, matter of fact, SEC players. One is a Ohio State commit, we've got a South Carolina commit, and a Vanderbilt commit, and they're all 3 dudes.
That's pretty strong.
So Oakland has their dudes as well. I mean, their offensive line, I think all have Power 5 offers. Woody Washington, obviously, is the Oregon commit, if I'm not mistaken. Oklahoma commit, thank you.
You got the O right.
It will be an interesting game. But let's go back to this game. Ravenwood goes in. They're up 17-0. 17-0 with about 3 minutes to play in the first half. Whitehaven gets the ball off a failed 4th and 1 conversion. They score 17-7 at halftime. I felt really good about it going into halftime. I really did. I mean, the defense of the Ravenwood had played really, really staunch defense. They had held Whitehaven in check. You knew the weapons were there. They had tried to throw a couple passes over the top of the secondary that was failed, and you thought if that quarterback can't get those passes down, they continue pressuring him, they're going to be fine. However, that didn't happen in the second half.
Yeah, well, and you were there. I mean, if you've never seen Whitehaven play, the other thing about it too is it was to tell the two halves. But to tell you how well the defense had to have played in the first half, I was not there, but hearing from you, but just seeing the score. I mean, Whitehaven is a physical. Not only are they athletic, that's what they're built around. They're a physical football team. They take pride in that, and you might be thinking, oh, Cane Ridge is what you got pictured in your mind. That Cane Ridge is nowhere near as physical as what Whitehaven is. Is that fair? Would you agree with that? And so, but they're fast and athletic on top of that. So to be up by that in the first half, that blew my mind. The defense must have played lights out. But, as we know, maybe if we could have been up one more, I don't know. It's easy to second guess. Maybe they quit.
You play the what ifs all the time. And usually, you're right, usually when you get up big, if Ravenwood could have tacked on another, they also deferred. So they get the ball in the second half, come out. If you score there, it goes up to go up 24-7. There's a good chance that those basketballs dribbling in the gym get a little louder, that varnish smell gets a little stronger, and the popcorn, you can smell it. But it didn't happen, and Whitehaven reeled off 33 unanswered points.
It's unbelievable.
It really is. You could see this thing coming. They scored again. They get this thing to finally take their first lead of the game. Actually, let me back up. Ravenwood does score again to make it 24 at one point in time, 24-14, and then they score again 21-24, and then they score one more time to finally take their first lead deep in the third quarter. And I knew that Ravenwood was in trouble, but I always thought they have been a team of the second half all playoffs long. They scored 31, 33 points against Cane Ridge. I thought they're going to have a flurry here at the end, but they just never could quite get in that comfort zone offensively. They couldn't even move the chains. I mean, they flipped the field on them almost every possession. Akers got some good punts off, but still, I mean, the returns back to midfield, 45-yard line, you give them a short field to work on, and that team was really going. The Dinks and the Ducks were working. The underpasses under the secondary were working all night long for Garcia and them but it was one of those feelings, though, Tate. You've been in those games that live and die by every single snap. I felt like I was watching a Vanderbilt game there for a moment. I've been a Vanderbilt fan. It's live and die by every play, except for this weekend. And I'll leave you alone on that because I know you're a UT fan. But I will revel.
All the bragging rights.
I will revel in that win. Matter of fact, that's the third in a row. But we'll just leave it right there. But I felt like that. Man, every single snap is so important. You can't even have a drop pass, or it's going to throw off the entire series.
Yeah, and they're also a team. Whitehaven's also a team that once they get momentum going, man.
Well, I'm going to tell you what happened. There's a helmet-to-helmet targeting call, something that I haven't seen all year long. Kid was ejected. When that happened, it got a little chippy. There was several penalized yards after that in favor of Ravenwood, but it seemed like when that happened, it was just a wake-up call for them. They got going, they got to jawing, they got to talking. Next thing you know, they're ready to roll. They couldn't get out of halftime fast enough. But it really stings. Coach Daniels was like, man, we were 24 minutes away from Cookeville. I said, you're right. It would have paid off huge dividends if you could have got into that game. Why? Win, lose, or draw, you're graduating less than 5 seniors that play. Anthony Holmes being one of those. That's a big, big contributor to the team. William Bain, also running back, big contributor. Got 2 guys on the offensive, defensive line that will be graduating as well that make it. But you can, they've got the pieces of the puzzle. If they could have gotten into that game, tasted it just like 14, come back in 15.
That's right.
It would have paid off. Now, I still think, I don't want to go ahead and get in prediction mode yet. I still think that they're back in this game come next year in 19.
They got to be the favorite. I mean,
have to be.
Got to be.
Positives coming out of this game. Garcia, 272 yards, 23 of 42 passing, 2 touchdowns. Anthony Holmes, receiving touchdown, breaks Van Jefferson's single-season record with 13 touchdowns. That's
really cool. That's big company right there, and it'll be a while before somebody breaks that, unless maybe Mason comes back and does it. I don't know, but that's really cool to be able to say, one, I'm the all-time receiving leader, and then that it was Van Jefferson. That's tall company.
But you have to think about that. Coming back, Andrew Mason obviously will be the number one target for the Raptors. They've got some guys around him as well that will be coming back. Garcia's coming back. Graham Barton, those dudes on the offensive line are coming back to protect. Is it feasible to think that Andrew Mason could potentially break that?
Yeah, I don't know where he is number-wise, but without a doubt.
In a single season,
that's going to be an explosive offense. Oh, a single season, no doubt about it. Yeah, I mean, you know, you got your quarterback back, who is the one who threw all those touchdown passes to the guy who broke it this year. He's going to be a year older. And, you know, it's funny when you start talking about the offensive line. You know, we remember at the beginning of the season when that's kind of one of the things Coach Daniels was talking about. You know, we're might even going to have to start a freshman at tackle. And, you know, the line was young. And, you know, it really never showed up all year long, you know what I'm saying? And they're going to be older on the offensive line next year. So, yeah, I would think that all those things that you just mentioned are a very real possibility.
Mentioned Graham Barton. Graham Barton's getting some Power 5 offers. You know,
good-looking kid.
Washington State was the last to drop. I know he's been up to Notre Dame. I know some other people are looking at him. I think his stock will continue to rise. Got an invite to the Polynesian All-American Bowl. Not exactly certain of that. I was going to ask you if you are familiar with the Polynesian All-American.
No. I've seen it popping up on Twitter. I mean,
now there are 1,000 of these All-American Bowls. I think this one is a legit one. I think it's on the West Coast. I believe that's why they call it that way. Matter of fact, I'm pretty certain that Hawaii, the University of Hawaii, is who does this and hosts this. So I think this is a very legit situation. I will do some research on that, but I think his stock will continue to rise. Power 5 offers. I believe the first SEC team that offers him, they'll have a leg up on him signing with his services.
He's gonna. It's, you know, you can't coach his size and athleticism, and the ball started rolling. It's all good. We'll see. Hey, you know, can you imagine if he gets that Notre Dame? He's been up to Notre Dame, but they haven't offered, right?
I don't think it's official yet.
Can you? If they do, then it's a copycat business, man.
Right. Whoever takes that first domino, everybody wants to follow him behind. But don't you think that first domino to fall is usually the one that does it? Prime case and example, Tim Stacekel. Tim Stacekel, we've said it all along, one of those guys that have flown under the radar. You better pick him up. 6'4", athletic, tight end, defensive end, whatever you need him to be. Gets his first offer in the SoCom. Chattanooga offers, UT Chat offers this week as well. It's one of those things on that level. In that conference, within that SoCon conference, you got Mercer, Furman, all those teams, Wofford. Whoever offers first, you can watch them. Boom, 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 boom. They're like, if they're going to offer, we got to have a chance at the kid. Same thing, no different with the Power 5. Graham Barton being that kid. We talked about Anthony Holmes earlier. Finished 6 catches for 95 yards and a touchdown. Junior wide receiver Andrew Mason finishes with 72 yards on 6 catches and a touchdown as well of his own. Ravenwood finishes 11-3. They were the last man standing in the WCS Sports Conference. What a year. We got 8 teams, the maximum amount of teams in this year. We had several go through the process of getting deeper into the playoffs. Unfortunately, in the quarterfinals, Fairview did not knock that chip off the block, off their shoulder. What is it going to take for Fairview to get that done?
I don't know. You know, one, Stratford.
Such a tough road, man.
Tough road, yes. Stratford was good. That's what we were talking about. And then I believe, if memory, they lost by 4 points to Covington, or 3. I'm pretty sure it was in overtime. I'm not 100% sure on that, but I know it was very, very close. It was
not in overtime, but I felt very confident that Fairview getting into that game could have beaten Covington.
Well, yes, but I think it would have been a good game, right? Because they were undefeated and they've been there, and it's just a tough road. You got to have some bounces go your way, and but the number one thing you got to do is keep getting there, right? Keep getting to the quarterfinals, which they've been doing, and you know it's going to fall sooner or later.
It's going to.
The way they've changed, you know, just like, you know, Cam Harris-Lusk. I don't ever remember being a player there like that. You forget until you start looking at it. You know, think back this time last year. You're talking about Darius James. Did you think anybody would ever have a season at Fairview like he did? You know, I wouldn't have thought that. And then now they're different players, but now Cam comes.
Let's talk about this for a moment, because I know that his mother Ann watches the show. She probably will call me or text me about getting his number right, and I will get his numbers right. 1,670 all-purpose yards, 31 touchdowns. 16 rushing, 15 receiving. This kid was a quarterback 2 years ago.
That's right.
Moved him to wide receiver. Had to move him a little bit with Nardozzi out in the second round to win in the second round. Had to move him to running back. Talking about a very unselfish kid that will do anything that it will take for Fairview to win. Can't say enough about this young man. He gets into the 3A Mr. Football finalists. Comes up a little short with Alcoa. I will now start the
soapbox
American flag in the background, and the soapbox is yours.
Oh, I haven't seen the kid from Alcoa play, so no, I'm not going to talk about that. I don't know. What I do know is I think some of those guys, Alcoa's undefeated, getting ready to win. I don't know. I just wonder if this thing was totally open-minded.
Of course it's not. Come on now. First off, let me tell you something, because I'm going to join in on the soapbox. First off, I'm going to be honest about something. We have a slight uphill battle. The WCS Sports Conference is not exactly the favorite of everybody surrounding us. In whatever we do, whatever sport we do, it doesn't matter, whatever. So we have an uphill battle just to get votes, period. Sure, there are some open-minded, subjective, unbiased people that will vote the right way, but let's be honest, this thing has become a window shopping beauty pageant. Whoever's got the prettiest name attached to that name, Alcoa being that kid. Now, and I don't want to take any away from that kid because I haven't seen him play, but I don't know what else you have to do more for a team when you look at an overall body of work. And it goes back to several years ago. You start looking at we talked about this, the T. Higgins argument with Nate Johnson. You look at the overall body of work. When does the team concept overlook and overshadow the fact that this kid is attached to a particular SEC football school? Now, T. Higgins was a specimen, and that dude is a player. And obviously at Clemson, he's a good player.
Yes.
And it kind of weeds its way out, right? T.J. Sheffield's another one. 2,000 all-purpose yards, 21 touchdowns, Purdue commit for him. I don't know. I've talked to – it seems like we get on our soapbox every year about this. I can go back to Mr. Basketball and do the same thing and start looking at who's in that. We've got a team that's 500 and the kid gets it, but whatever. It is what it is. I do not want to take away the fact that it is very, very special to be on that stage.
That's what here's the way I would look at it.
Congratulations to Cam and TJ.
Yeah, I know you want to win it, and I get that. But to be one of the three guys up there, that's a big deal, man. A really, really big deal. And I can't really speak on that kid because I have not seen him play. My guess is he's a really, really good player, and quite possibly, they beat Maryville this year. Now, what I saw Friday night, Maryville is not Maryville of old. They're still really, really good, but that's not one of those teams that I saw Ravenwood play 2 years.
George Qualls coach teams.
No. So I'm sure the young man's really, really good on a really good football team. I'm with you. I don't know how you could have had a better season than what Luss did. The 6A one, that one worried me. Starling over 2,000 yards. Sure. You saw him. I mean, he's a good player.
And congratulations to Cane Ridge. Any of those teams that are kind of in our region, if you will, they're right there with us. We have to match up with them in playoffs. Congratulations. He's, what they've done at Cane Ridge is to be commended. I mean, he's done a great job. That guy, first in Cane Ridge history to win that Mr. Football 6A for them. Really, congratulations to them. And he deserved it. I think TJ obviously will go on and have a collegiate career. I don't know about that young man from Cane Ridge, but I do want to win them. If we're there, I want to win them all.
Right. Xavier Myers was the other one, right, from Oakland?
Right.
Yeah, now I have seen all three of those play, and TJ's by far the most explosive. Now, Starling's a great player, over 2,000 yards.
Body of work. I'll go back to the body of work.
Xavier Myers, I saw him Friday, and he is impressive. He's not as explosive as those other two. But TJ, literally, if you gave him a seam, he was gone.
Game changer.
The other two aren't.
Complete game changer.
Yes.
And will be a game changer on Saturdays before his career's up.
Yeah, but now with Brahms going to Louisville, who does that mean he ends up at Louisville?
That will be very interesting to see how that works to go. Has that been made official? Because I knew that was the scuttle for a while.
I think it's
I hope he does, because that'd be a little closer for us to go see him.
That's right.
3-stripe school.
That's right.
All right. Ravenwood quarterback Brian Garcia passed for more than 2,500 yards and accounted for 33 touchdowns this year. Ravenwood finishes the mid-state polls at number 5, Brentwood at number 9, Page at 16. Good year for the WCS Sports Conference. It really is. Without winning the championship, we couldn't ask for a whole lot more. It still stings, though. It stings. Yeah. Once you get that taste of Cookeville, you want to do it every single year. So now we're going to flip the script for just a moment here. In the closing few minutes, we're going to talk basketball. Your favorite sport. I can't wait to hear your analysis about what's going on the basketball world. We're going to talk preseason coaches poll, and we're going to break this down real quick. All right? Girls side, 11 AAA preseason poll goes as follows. Ravenwood with 4 first-place votes. This was done by the coaches, by the way.
Can you vote for yourself?
Yeah, I just asked them to rank.
All right.
Rank it the way it was. Dixon got 2 preseason votes for first. They came in second place there. Page, 3rd. Brentwood, 4th. Franklin, 5th. Summit, 6th. Indy, 7th. Centennial, 8th. Spring Hill, 9th. All right, so let's talk just real briefly about what's fixing to happen. Brentwood at 4th. No way they finish 4th place. I'm going to predict right now that Brentwood finishes in the top 2 slots. I'm not going to say who's going to get bumped out. Okay, I will say it. I think Dixon County could potentially be in those top 2 spots. Ravenwood will have something to say about it. Franklin will have something to say about it. The top 5 teams, I think they got right. But here's a team that's outside that top 5 that's quietly moving through under the radar that may be a little bit ahead of schedule than I thought they would be at this point in time, and that is the Lady Spartans of Summit.
Yeah.
They had a big win over Nolensville.
They did. I'm with you. I don't know. I think Ravenwood, clearly they got that right. You got to think, Page being at number 3, I would think that would have to do with somebody by the name of Wilkin. Is that fair?
Faith Wilkin, MVP at the Cookeville tournament they just came from, or excuse me, the Friendship Christian tournament they came from.
That's right. She's a player, and so I just don't. Dixon's got a coaching change, which is their second coaching change in what, as many years? 2 years? I mean.
No, yes. No, they've had 3 coaches in the last 4 years.
4 years, okay.
Yes.
And so, I would think it would be hard for them to get to 2. But Summit, I think people are sleeping on Summit. And then, I bet Coach Wild really likes being there at 5.
Well, he thinks they're going to be 9th. So, when you ask Coach Wild, you don't know how they're going to be. You talk about Ravenwood. Ravenwood has a starter out for the remainder of the season with an injury. I think that really affects them. Jazz Harmon, obviously, voted as preseason player of the year along with Faith Wilkin from Page, which is interesting. I just don't know. I think it's going to be a tough road for Coach Harris. I don't know. It's just there's too many question marks at this point in time, but I do know this. I have seen the Lady Bruins of Brentwood play, and I'm telling you right now, Amelia Osgood, household name, remember it, sophomore, lefty, is a dude. And that's a good thing, by the way, when you say dude. She's a player. There is something different about her. Whatever has happened over the summer, I don't know what travel ball circuit she played on. I'm sure she played AAU. I mean, everybody does nowadays. The confidence in this young lady, something is different. They flipped a switch. And she has got confidence. She looks like a total different player. Remember that name. I really think Brentwood is a top 2 team, and I think they'll finish there as well. Dixon, we don't know yet. Dixon absolutely really beat Nolensville handedly early on this year already by 20 or more. Coaching change, we don't know, but they have 2 girls that were on the all-district team last year. I think they returned. Dixon's going to be pretty good. Page, strength of schedule will be questionable when they come up into this point. Franklin, same kind of thing. They've played a lot of Metro teams. I know that Coach Joins wanted to beef up his schedule. I don't know that helps Coach Wild. Good wins, take them how you can get them. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But the boys versus girls in Metro are 2 total different things.
Yes.
So that Independence has got a couple wins early on as well. Nolensville sitting at 2-2. Nolensville beefed up their schedule. That will help them tremendously on the AA side. But you care to make an assessment here on the top 4?
Yeah, I'm with you. I think Brentwood's too low, and then obviously we'll see what happens up there with 2 and 3, and then maybe even 1. I don't know, but yeah, I think 1 through 6. I think you're right. That could change considerably. But I know Coach Thrash, even before the whatever they're called, Hall of Champions, Hall of Fame games, whatever, started. he thinks he's going to be really good.
Well, I'm looking forward to getting deep into this analysis of this basketball with you, man.
I'll be
It's
ready
basketball
next
team.
week,
I
brother.
love it. I love it. Franklin, and the name escapes me. Jillian King, obviously on the forefront of, Valdosta State signee. She's a really good guard for Coach Wild and Franklin, but they have a freshman whose name completely escapes me at this point in time. Just remember her. Allie, I think is her last name, and she is a really good basketball player, averaging double digits right now as a freshman, and will have a great career for Coach Wild. On the boys' side, Brentwood 4 first-place votes at number 1. Franklin 2 first-place votes. Centennial got a vote in 3rd. Dixon, Page, Ravenwood, Summit, Independent, Spring Hill. Let's address the elephant in the room. There's one team that lost a player, and the other team has gained that player. That will make a difference if this vote was done today as far as the all-district boys tournament, all-district regular season boys list, and the team. Would you like to address that person?
I'm assuming you're talking about Ashari Hainsworth.
That is correct.
He's now a Franklin Rebel.
He's now a Franklin Rebel.
And makes Franklin a little bit better.
That makes all the difference in the world for them right now. Now, talking about their schedule, they've played 3 AA teams. Who are those AA teams?
Stratford, Pearl,
East Nashville.
East Nashville. Whew.
2 of those teams will be in state tournament. You can hear it. Book it now. One of them, the only reason
Stratford and East.
The only reason the third won't be in there is because they have to eliminate each other. Pearl Cone will be in the state championship game for AA.
Wow.
I'm just telling you right now.
That's
it's one of the better teams that I've seen in a long time.
Who are they putting out, Stratford or East Nashville?
That's a coin toss, really. I think.
I'm a Jim Fay guy.
Jim does a great job. Coach Fay does a great job. Stratford, I don't know. I'm going to predict Stratford, though. I think Stratford might be slightly better. But as the year progresses, Coach Fay, East Nashville, you can't rule them out. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. But you can book this. Pearl Cone will be in the state tournament.
Wow. We got to go watch them.
All right. Brentwood, I've seen them play. I saw them play Clarksville. I want you to remember this name, Ben Mills, double machine, coming out of nowhere. Nobody even knows who he is. He's grown to be 6'5", 6'6"-ish. Double machine to run the high post, catch it, face up, boom, gone, buckets. This kid can play along with Jack Thurman, Harry Lackey, Preston Moore. Those guys are back. They're long. When he runs that run and jump 2-3 zone, they could be a lot of trouble for Brentwood. Centennial, Trey Carlton, Dusty Williams, and Isaiah Poore. That team is going to be solid as well. Dixon, going to be a hard out. Those 4 teams right there, yep. I think Summit kind of cruising right along right now, real quietly on the radar, 2-1. Guess who the leading scorer for the Spartans were?
His last name was Wade.
Destin Wade, 17 points the other night. It's going to be fun to watch.
They're going to be fun to watch. I guess Coach Goodwin's not worried about where they start. He's worried about where they end, and that's going to be fun to watch, see where Summit ends up. And just so you know, Dixon, they feel really good about themselves this year.
Feel really good.
Down in Dixon, I mean.
We'll see. Player of the Year, Reese Glover, Jack Thurman. I don't think there's any question about that. Can't wait to talk basketball further. Thanks for joining us this week. We'll see you next time here on WCS Sports Connection.